Mitigating challenges of online education during COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka, presented by Poorna Parera, Deputy Director of Education, Minister of Education Sri Lanka, Tanuja Vitarana, Deputy Commissioner, Minister of Education Sri Lanka, and Prabhat Vitanage, Deputy Director of Education, Minister of Education Sri Lanka. Current situation. According to United Nations statistics, more than 1 billion of world student population are to stay away from school due to pandemic. Sri Lanka, home to about 21 million of population, is one of the South Asian countries that is severely affected. So, Sri Lanka is not an exception from global realities where it calls for a full school closure on 12th March 2020. Apparently, by June 2021, the situation has not improved where the school closure is still in effect. However, to keep the educational momentum, country's education system was forced to transform into online education. For a system which practices traditional classroom-based teaching for decades with restricted or minimal use of technology, this sudden system transformation is indeed a challenge. These plethora of challenges instigated through transition to online education can be majorly categorized into two groups as access to reliable device and uninterrupted connectivity and quality of online teaching. Firstly, the problems related to access to a reliable device and uninterrupted internet connectivity, which are imperatives for online education. According to statistics, only 52% of households with children aged between 5 to 18, which is general schooling age, have access to a smartphone or a computer. This is merely a representation of the half of the student population in the country. Further, there are only around 40% of student population have access to a secured internet connection, either fixed line or any other form. According to another statistical report, urban, rural and estate sector have undeniable gaps between access to a proper device or proper connectivity to engage in online education. These plethora of challenges instigated through transition to online education can be majorly categorized into two groups as access to reliable device and uninterrupted connectivity and quality of online teaching. These statistical data shows the magnitude of the problem, where a considerable proportion of student population is devoid of online education due to accessibility issues, which in turn puts the country's pledge to provision of universally free, equitable educational opportunities to all in danger. Second category of issues are concerned with the pedagogical practices. As a general education system is classroom-based, teacher-centered and exam-oriented, transforming to online mode has undoubtedly created concerns in using digital platforms for educational purposes among teachers as well as learners. Further, the teachers are trying to keep the usual classroom teaching norms even in a virtual environment, which is mainly due to lack of proper systemized training on using digital platforms for routinely teaching learning process. Bulk transfer of notes and lessons through many media such as WhatsApp and Viber has escalated students' frustration, again challenging the quality of education they get. While understanding the outlined challenges, it is equally important to analyze and acknowledge the progressive steps that Sri Lankan government has taken to upgrade and standardize its educational system during pandemic situation. With the outbreak of pandemic, the Ministry of Education has taken special efforts to upgrade its web portal eTaksalawa where any student can get access to all the subject lessons from grade 1 to 13 without any data cost. Further, for the students who cannot reach a suitable device or connectivity, more than 2,000 centers have been identified island-wide and have upgraded as online learning hubs where students can come to these centers and engage in online learning in small groups. Apart from this, a system of distribution of printed materials to students, those who does not have access to any form of above mentioned modes, is also in action. Here, the printed home-based learning materials are posted to all students, where special emphasis is given to semi-urban, rural and estate sector student cohort. Teachers give feedback on these lessons through individual physical meetings or through a toll-free hotline. While acknowledging the progressive steps that have been taken by the Sri Lankan Educational Authority, it is worthwhile considering the way forward too. As it is important, a consolidated lesson structure should be mobilized in order to uphold the equity and unanimity of lessons which are being given to students through many online portals. Further, through a strong public-private partnership, students should be given required devices, recognizing the disadvantaged situation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Apart from all these actions, it is equally important to conduct and continue feedback studies in order to keep all these remedial actions on track. We would like to acknowledge the internet sources where the pictures of this presentation are being taken and all those who have helped in gathering the information to be presented in this presentation. Thank you.